STEVE-N4AY, portable.
Roger, portable then. Where are you portable, sir?
Roger, portable then. Where are you portable, sir?
In the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia in the Chattahoochee-Oconee National Forest, camping.
Roger. Well, I have an SDR down in Georgia. Why don't you tell me about your antenna system in about 10 seconds, and let me see if I can find a better path for us, Roger?
Let me see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Well, sure. The antenna system is a commercial end-fed half-wave 80 through 10 antenna that's just strung up in the trees up here. The rig is an ICOM 7100, and I have the equalization and everything set on it primarily for intelligibility. So there's not going to be much bottom end and probably pretty peaky on the high end. Over.
Roger. Just to double check, usually on our setup procedure, we ask to be sure that the operator is in the 100 to 2900 transmit bandwidth. The best performance setting for their radio, 100 to 2900, Roger.
Setting for their radio, 100 to 2900, Roger.
Yeah, it's opened up on the high end, but I have the bottom end rolled off, I think, at 200 hertz. It doesn't really offer much intelligibility. The bass frequencies and the voice, of course, don't really do much except consume power.
That's so, Roger. Well, our setup procedure starts, we're looking for a 3 dB dynamic range as opposed to a normal 10 dB dynamic range. And the thing is, the more restricted your dynamic range, the fatter it gets. And so we're saying a 3 dB is a nice fat signal, but it's well below the point of where the words start to bend. And our setup procedure actually starts with engaging the compressor at a 3. It's a token amount, something you'll never hear on the air, but it does help us achieve our dynamic range of 3 dB at the end of the setup, Roger.
Dynamic range of 3 dB at the end of the setup, Roger.
Well, I didn't catch your name. I predict that I know considerably more about audio processing than most people, having been a broadcast engineer and audio processing passion. Over.
Yeah, so when I spent 50 years doing that, I can usually tell where a VU meter's going before it leaves the peg, Roger.
Usually tell where a VU meter's going before it leaves the peg, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. I actually installed a RF clipper module in the microphone from my old Yaesu 857B, and I was able to see very much higher average RMS level modulation. I'm running a slight amount of compression on this rig. I have modified the ALC so I could get at least 100 watts out of it. And the peak reading meter on my watt meter, or on my antenna tuner rather, is showing flickers at 100 and an occasional flicker at 125 watts out.
Yes, sir. The thing about a clipper circuit does introduce quite a bit of distortion if it's pushed very much, and the distortion does not help the audio. You know, solid-state radio's got a problem already because of the solid-state nature of distortion is odd harmonic distortion, which really stands out like a sore thumb. Unlike tube distortion, which is, even harmonic distortion, which is much more pleasing, Roger.
Harmonic distortion, which is much more pleasing, Roger.
I agree. The RF clipper that I installed in that microphone, you can see it on the QRZ page. It converted the audio to 455 kilohertz and then clipped it and then filtered the output. So the distortion, of course it distorted the voice, but it made it extremely easy to be understood, especially after I made adjustments on the BFO on the oscillator of the RF clipper.
Roger, hang on just a minute. I was just getting a cup of coffee. The thing is, if you'd be interested, I don't know exactly where you're running your ALC, but we recommend like 2/3. And between the compressor on at 3 and 2/3 on the ALC, we're running there about 90%, 85, 90% of average peak modulation, not consistent, but average, and that's a really hefty signal with absolute clean words, Roger.
That's a really hefty signal with absolute clean words, Roger.
Yeah, I am running the ALC. I'm seeing on the meter of the rig, I'm seeing it at about 2/3, and I'm seeing between 5 and 10 dB of compression actually taking place. And as I mentioned, my peak output is right at 100 watts. So I'm doing about the most that I want to do with this particular radio.
Yes, sir. And I think if you have a way of activating and deactivating your clipper circuit, I would say that your average modulation would be the same with the clipper circuit in or out. You know, the ALC is actually the limiter, looking at the output of the limiter in your radio. The limiter is extremely fast detect release time, and it's not as fast as back-to-back diodes, but it's very, very quick and can give you that higher index of modulation, Roger, without the distortion.
Higher index of modulation, Roger, without the distortion.
Oh yeah, we're singing off the same hymn sheet. I do not have that radio anymore. And when the radio went, the clipper for the microphone, it also changed the element in the microphone from a dynamic element to an electret condenser. And if I had the speech clipper turned off, the transmit IF going through the Collins filter, people swore that it could not have been a Yaesu 857D.
Roger. So what mic are you running now? It sounds like an electric.
So what mic are you running now? It sounds like an electric.
It's the stock microphone that came with the ICOM 7100, and I do believe it is an electret element.
Yes, sir. Is that a hand mic?
Yes, is that a hand mic?
Yeah, it's the one that came with the 7100. I actually have the rig installed in the car with a piece of coax running up to the HF antenna.
Roger. I didn't get your name, sir. What's your name?
Roger. I didn't get your name, sir. What's your name?
I go by Steve, my middle name, over.
I'm sorry, try that again?
I'm sorry, try that again?
I go by my middle name.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Tango, Echo, Victor, Echo.
We have somebody that is just dying to make comments, sir. They don't know how to respect a directed network. Unfortunately, they are QRMers, we got them. Just the problem is how to get rid of them. Very inconsiderate folks. Anyway, sir, could you come back with your name one more time?
Folks. Anyway, sir, could you come back with your name one more time?
It is Steve, Sierra, Tango, Echo, Victor, Echo, and I've learned that the best way to deal with QRMers is just to ignore them.
Yes, sir, and I would do that, but the problem is we're recording, and I'm looking for the best recording possible, and so if they just sit there and do that, it really does not help the recording, and I'm trying to get you a nice recording, Steve, right here.
Does not help the recording, and I'm trying to get you a nice recording, Steve, right here.
Okay, well, a nice recording would, of course, include any sort of noise, whether natural or man-made, and it would be expected.
Yes, sir. You're right there. And give me your call sign one more time, Steve.
You're right there. And give me your call sign one more time, Steve.
November 4, Alpha Yankee, N4AY.
Roger, Steve, I can hear you so well. You're, like I say, you're like 12 over now. I'm using a Georgia SDR, and you must be down the block from that thing, Roger.
SDR, and you must be down the block from that thing, Roger.
Is that the one in Dahlonega, Georgia?
I'm not sure right now. Sometimes I use Simmons Island. That's another good SDR, Roger.
Sometimes I use Simmons Island. That's another good SDR, Roger.
Okay, I think the University of North Georgia has an SDR in Dahlonega, and that is approximately 10 miles south of me, so could be some good ground wave getting into that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is doing no phasing, so you're no fading, so you're just a very good signal. And if you'd like to hear your beautiful audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV followed by the word logbook, we'll take you to this recording. This will be cut number 1 in a series of 2400 on a YouTube search, and we'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger.
YouTube search, and we'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger.
Yeah, I have no internet access or cell phone service here at this campsite, but tomorrow when I will run down the road a little bit, I will look you up and give a listen, and I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Steve. One thought, though, on running that hand mic, the best way to run that mic is pull it to the corner of your lips and talk across it. Do not talk directly into that hand mic. Pull it to the corner of your lips. Actually touch the corner of your lips and talk across it. Roger?
The corner of your lips. Actually touch the corner of your lips and look across it. Roger?
That's exactly what I'm doing. As a broadcaster, both engineering and on the air side in places like Washington, D.C. and Chicago, I do know an awful lot about mic technique, and I do always talk across this mic unless I'm moving around a little bit.
Yeah, Roger, Steve. I did hear a couple of plosives, so I thought I might mention to that to you, Roger.
Hear a couple of plosives, so I thought I might mention to that to you, Roger.
Yeah, I'm well familiar with microphone techniques from everything from Neumann and Telefunken condensers to dynamic mics of shapes and sizes.
Roger. Just running around. I'm running 4 internet SDRs. Went up to Milford. Not quite as hot as Georgia, and I went down to Arlington. And again, you're hottest on that Georgia SDR, Roger. Why don't you come back and tell me the best thing you like about your radio? Let me go to my local antenna and see what we got there, Roger.
Like about your radio? Let me go to my local antenna and see what we got there, Roger.
Okay. New at a real good price a couple of years ago. And what I like about it is I have the actual body of the radio under the front seat along with an LDT automatic tuner. And I do like the touch screen and the fact that I can look at, if I tell it to, I can look at the SWR, how much current the rig is drawing, the power output, the ALC, and the amount of compression. I can see all that on the touch screen all the time. And I do like that feature. It's a shack in a box. I can do VHF, UHF, 6 meters, and HF without any trouble at all.
Roger, Steve. Well, I do have a nice copy on you on my local antenna, my dipole. That is a very wide range receiver, good from 400 to 2900, and you're very nice there. You can really tell the difference between the SDRs, which usually roll off at about 250 cycles or so. This is full range on my local antenna, so you have the option in addition to listening to that on the recording. Roger?
Oh, Roger. Yeah, well, that'll be an interesting comparison. When I was setting up the RF clipper in the other microphone with the other radio, I would dial up an SDR and then make my adjustments on the microphone while listening. They come in pretty handy. Over.
Yes, sir. I'm going back to Georgia SDR. Also, there is a spectrum analyzer tied to the output of the receiver, so you'll be able to see that also as you speak and as I speak. And just a word of explanation for the meter. It has one white mark on the left side, which denotes 100 cycles. First mark to the right side is 1K. Then there's a black mark, which is 2K, and then another white mark, which is 4K. So you'll be able to understand what the meter's doing, Roger.
Which is 4K, so you'll be able to understand what the meter's doing, Roger.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've played with the spectrum analyzers on the SDRs before, and it is very can be very helpful for what you're trying to do.
Yes, sir, Steve. Well, let me say 73 to you, sir, and you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend, and just a gigantic Christmas, Roger.
Good afternoon, beautiful weekend, and just a gigantic Christmas, Roger.
Roger. By the way, the temperature here are high for the day, at least as indicated on the thermometer in the car, is 11 degrees, and the wind is blowing like stink. And the Weather Service said the wind chill was about 5 below zero.
Yes, sir. I think we're at about 3 or -3. I'm not really sure. Somewhere in there, but we've gotten all the batches hatched down. Everything's copacetic, and we're doing fine on the nice chilly afternoon. So 73 to you, sir, and we'll catch you down the line, Roger.
So 73 to you, sir, and we'll catch you down the line, Roger.
Roger. Well, you have a great afternoon, and try to stay warm. I am in a tent with a 7-foot by 7-foot floor. That's my space, 49 square feet at the bottom of the tent. And I do have a Mr. Heater, Buddy Heater, to keep me warm. Temperature outside was 13 this morning, and it was 70 inside the tent. I was wearing a T-shirt, quite comfortable. Anyway, have a great afternoon, and I enjoyed the Qso KC9VKV from N4AY 73.
Roger. Steve, is that the big buddy or the little buddy?
Kilowatt Bravo 4 Papa Tango Japan.
It's just the buddy. I have the one with 2 elements, but this is just the one with the 1 element. And if the temperature is much above 30 degrees, even with the heater on low, it gets too hot in the tent.
Yes, sir. We run one of those for a backup in case our generator can't find gas. You never know what the shortage is going to be for the week. It's always a shortage of one kind or another, so we do have quite a few backups to keep warm. 73, Steve, and we'll catch you later. The other station there, come back with your call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
Station there, come back with your call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, this is KB4PTJ, Williamsburg. How you doing?
Hey, Will, what's happening, sir? Gosh, long time no see. You're down in Williamsburg, Roger?
Long time no see. You're down in Williamsburg, Roger?
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, down south where it's cold, buddy.
Yes, sir. Well, how are your repeaters doing? And I think Steve was in there. Let me talk to Steve just for a second, and I'll be right back. Roger.
In there, let me talk to Steve just for a second, and I'll be right back. Roger.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to clue you into an add-on that I did to my Buddy Heater, and that was I got a wood stove fan, a thermoelectric fan, and just got a couple of clips and clipped it onto the top of the heater, and by moving that air, it is very, very efficient.
Yes, sir, Steve. And some folks have gone to cutting that top handle off of the Buddy Heater and cook on it, Roger?
Off of the Buddy Heater and cook on it, Roger?
Yep, and you can pull the grill off the front of it and attach the bottom of what would normally be the bottom of the grill where it attaches to the body of the heater. You turn that upside down and it'll fit right in the holes where the top of the heater goes, and it also almost makes a flat surface for cooking.
Yes, sir. I saw this one guy. It was really, I think it was like 30 below, and he had his 20-gallon container outside, and it was too cold, and so his stuff froze, and he had to bring that in, and then he had to, get his buddy going, and was actually heating the tank, which, and then there was something he was calling it the liftoff mode, and I wasn't really sure about that, Roger.
The liftoff mode, and I wasn't really sure about that, Roger.
Well, it's supposed to be down near zero here tonight, and I did some research, and if it's down to zero, I won't have any trouble with propane from my 20-pound tank to the heater. I do have a Coleman grill stove that has uses a 1-pound bottle, and it has gotten to the point where any flame that I get on the burner is very small. And I did discover that this thing will let me turn the tank over upside down to where it's getting liquid, and it performs admirably that way. Anyway, I'll let you get back to the other station. Enjoyed the conversation, and remember that wood stove fan. I think I paid $27 for it on Amazon. But they take all that heat that's coming out of the top and rising up, and it moves it into the living space. 73. KC9VKV N4AY portable.
Roger, Steve. 73, sir. Good thoughts about staying warm, and that's the most important thing on a day like today.